Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. Today's going to be a solo episode because, our schedules didn't line up. I've been kind of busy. I canceled on Peter twice. Sorry, Peter, if you're listening. It's going to be a solo episode. It's July 4th. It's been a wonderful week so far. Busy. Having a hard time coordinating stuff. A little bit overwhelmed these days. But I figured we're out of episodes in the bank, so I had to record today. So that's why I'm sitting here right now in front of you. And I'm just going to kind of ramble about things that I've been kind of working on. Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, clothing, just giving guys kind of like a update in my life. All right. So what I've been up to from on the training front is just trying to work positions that I don't usually work. So in Judo, that would be a lot of chest-to-chest stuff, hip-to-hip stuff. Positions that I generally tend to avoid. And, when you get to these positions and when you're the big dog in the room, everyone tries to kill you, obviously. So my thing right now is to minimize the risk as much as possible. I teach this stuff, I drill this stuff, but I never go takedowns with anybody in these positions. So I go chest to chest, hip to hip, and I play fight there, maybe for 20, 30 minutes at a time, just kind of trying to trap the arm, lift the body, lever in the knee. And, the other person's kind of going for things similarly too. And then the very, very thought-provoking experiment, so to speak, where we're going for long periods of time with very, very reduced intensity and speed. So as you're doing stuff, kind of talk yourself through it. And if you go for something, you make a mistake, it's completely okay, right? So the other day, I was trying to go for a back heel trip, and then I didn't quite capable of trapping that arm and locking my hands. So then they hiked that arm up and I got loaded onto the person's hip. And now from there, he was lifting me, and normally panic mode, because you're getting lifted up in the air. You're going to be kind of about to get launched and bracing yourself to take a big fall. But there is no big fall because we've already agreed that we're not slamming each other. So as he's lifting me, I was able to post on his head and try to separate my head away from his to go away from the throw, right? And then I'm entangling my legs in a way, kind of like a Kawabugake, or I'm grapevining my leg to kind of anchor myself to his lower body, my lower body to his lower body. And of course, there's things that could potentially happen that's dangerous. He dives his head back and lifts the leg, et cetera, et cetera. But we get to play fight in that area, And if you've never been there, you kind of have a feeling of what to do. You have an intuition, but you're not fully skilled. Nor do you have the time in the position to be able to proficiently be there without big risks. So I got there once, I got there twice, and now it's this thing of he's trying to figure out how he could kind of gain leverage when he's lifting me. I'm trying to work defensively, and it's this unspoken thing that we're drilling. So the next time I get lifted in that way, I know exactly what to do. Exactly. And when I lift someone, or when that person lifts someone in that position, they know exactly how to kind of maneuver their body weight hips, keeping their balance, how to deal with the pulsing on the head and things like this to kind of maneuver, right? So these are the types of drills that I've been kind of doing. I haven't been doing that much stand-up randori recently. I dislocated my pinky. Not completely, but it came out and came back in and it was swollen, so I can't really grab so much. So that's why I've been also doing a lot of close range stuff, because you don't really need to grab the gi so much. You can go chest to chest, grab the belt. There's really a little bit more risk with the hands flying around. Definitely when hands are flying around for grip fighting, there's a risk that you get your pinky slammed into or your hand parried, and there's a lot of pain there. So that's partially why that I'm going, for this close range judo drills. So that's one thing that I've been doing on the judo front. And on the jiu-jitsu front, I'm doing more so this thing of anticipating what they want to do and then trying to limit their ability to do it. For instance, if they're in headquarters and they're pushing their knee across their midline of the body, you almost can guarantee that they're looking for a collar and a grip on the inside of the knee, almost 95% of the time. You know what I mean? So shrugging that shoulder and then protecting that collar, and then waiting for them to go for that knee and then plucking that hand towards you. And now all of a sudden, you have one hand on the sleeve. They don't have a collar grip. So then you kind of scoot out to the side, whether you kip that foot out And now you could re-engage and face your hips towards that person. So that's just one example, but trying to figure out what they're about to do and be ahead of it. That's sort of my theme for Jiu-Jitsu, So that's been pretty good working for me on both fronts. I like to have themes of the week as I'm going into training to make the best out of my training always, right? Because I don't want to just go in there and be at the mercy of how I feel or how my training partners feel. I want to direct the training in a way where I get the most out of it. And, sometimes the theme is volume. Sometimes it's like, all right, I never really take off rolls in Jiu-Jitsu, but there's a minute rest in between each roll. And if I could string together, hey, I'm going with him first. Hey, you want to go second? You want to go third? You already have a third? Let's go fourth. And I already know who I'm going to go with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rolls, right? Majority of the time it works out in this way where I can go from the first roll, buzzer goes, and get an extra 45 seconds. So I go to the second guy right away. I've already identified where they're rolling before, right? Let's say I'm going with Pat first. Pat's a real guy. Love Pat. We're going, and then I'm going with David next. I know where David is in the room. Okay, this is from like my experience with teaching and stuff. I kind of know where everyone is, and I want to make sure I don't want like the scrambly stand-up guys near me when I'm on the ground because they can land on me. So these are all like small self-preservation things that I always do because it's so dumb for me to train all this time, do all this martial art, and get injured because someone lands on me from the side. It's just a silly, preventable thing. So I always kind of have these things in mind. So I'm going with Pat. Buzzer's about to go. I already know where David is to my left. Buzzer goes. I shake his hand. And then 9 times out of 10, I just walk up, grab, hey, what's up, David? And I'll start grabbing his collar. It's not even like this thing of like letting him rest or whatever it was. I just start grabbing his collar, and I sit down. And if he needs that 1 minute, that 45 seconds that we already started linking up, I'll go really slow in intensity, And majority of the time when they're tired, they want to be on top. So I'll pull guard, right? So now they're on top. They could rest. I'm setting up grips and moving light, trying to off balance them, seeing what kind of strategy I want to do. So now all of a sudden, across 5 rolls, you get an extra 5 minutes. You get an extra roll. That's a spectacular thing. And sometimes that's my theme of the week. And of course, it isn't perfect. If Marcus is like, Shintaro, let's go. And he's like the GM there, and he's like really good. He's a black belt. I'll go with Marcus. I'll cancel on my guy. Sorry, I'm going to go with Marcus instead. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so, these are volume-based themes sometimes, and sometimes the theme becomes something like, you have favorites that you play in the room. I don't want to go with that guy. I don't want to go with that guy. He's going to kick me in the leg. I'm comfortable. This is the guy I warm up with. This is my number 2 role. And then 3 is kind of up for grabs, the black belt in the room. And then whatever, right? So these kinds of things that we all do. Sometimes I'll just like throw a wrench in all of it and say, I'm only going to go with guys that I generally don't go with, And when you're at a gym like Essential in the mornings, it's a good thing. And I love that I do my dojo at night, Essential in the morning, because at Essential, I'm not a staff. I mean, I am staff, but like, I'm not there. I'm there for myself. I'm there to train, right? I'm not teaching the class. Nick Damjoni's teaching the class. So that class is like for me, And of course, I'm thinking about my training partners, giving to my training partners, etc. But the idea being, I'm there to train. So I have to make sure that I get the best training. And these are the ways that I sort of do it. And so like I said, the theme of that day is to just go with people that I don't usually go with, which is a little bit more difficult than my gym. You know what I mean? So the way I pick rounds in my dojo is very different. It's almost as if I do judo with people that are deserving to do rounds with me in my gym, because there's people who are working out. There's people who come once every 3 weeks. Those people should not have a round with me, because they're not going to get anything, right? People who are I don't want to say about to compete, because then all of a sudden now you're talking competitors, non-competitors, and you have a tiered thing or classification. But in my gym, majority of the time, I'm not working out then, because I'm more focused on teaching and I'm more focused on helping my guys. And also, I'm training in the mornings. So that kind of scratches that itch, fulfills that need for the training. And then at night, I could really just double down and focus on the students. But if I'm like, I haven't done judo in a while, I'm going to work out today, I'm going to do stand-up, I'm not just going to go with any random person that came in for a drop-in. That person has not earned my time. And my time is very valuable on the mat because I'm matching the person that I'm going with always. I'm not going to smoke them. I'm working on certain things, giving them certain tools, like ideas and movements. And I'm not just defending everything. I'm maybe letting them in a few times. Maybe I'll let them outgrip me. Even like the gripping exchanges, I don't outgrip them 9 times out of 10. Sometimes if I feel like they're dangerous, the majority of the time, if it's someone that I know, someone that I like to train with, and then I'm doing the round for them, I'll maybe outgrip them 6 or 7 times out of 10. So 65% of the time I'll grip them. So the other 35% of the time, they have this, I'm outgripping sensei. And then they get to take shot, actually go for stuff. And then I won't counter all of it. I'll defend most of it, step out of it. I may counter one of it. And then so I structure the rounds when I do judo with my students in a way that's really beneficial for them and also safe for me. Because a lot of the times I'm doing randori, but I'm looking down the mat, see, all right, that guy's going with that guy's kind of dangerous. I got to kind of manage the room at the same time. So my attention's probably like 75% on the person I'm doing rounds with, and then 25% down the room while other people are training. So it's a very different thing how I choose my rounds at my dojo versus how I choose my rounds in the morning. And I think that's very important. So anyway, back to the themes that I've been kind of working on. Those are the themes. And, sometimes the theme is a position, right? A couple of weeks ago, Ryan Glick came in and he was teaching escapes and things like this. So then it became kind of more escaping kind of a thing of the week. And I'll let guys pass my guard and then I'll try to escape. If I'll let guys come over the back for Georgian and I'll just stay in the pocket there and try to escape. I'll let guys outgrip me and try to use defensive maneuvers, and that's just my theme of the week. I'm just trying to defend, right? Learn how to get out of bad positions by not going for a bailout or figure out tactical ways that's going to give me back to it. So sometimes the themes are like that. And then, a couple weeks ago when I was filming the Nogi instructional for BJJ Fanatics, I spent a whole week just teaching Nogi and stuff. That was my theme of the week, looking at wrestling, thinking about wrestling. Thinking about Greco freestyle, all the moves I used to do back in the day in college when I had, close to 200 wins throughout my wrestling career. And just thinking back to those days, what throws did I used to do? Like I used to do an Osoto off a front headlock. That's just, no one does that, And why was it successful? And was it successful because it's so unique or because the guys I was wrestling against sucked? I don't really know, So given those kinds of things, thoughts, and then trying to put that in sort of a systematic way was the theme of my training for the week because I had to film this video, which you guys can very soon purchase on Judo Fanatics and BJJ Fanatics. Speaking of which, I want to say thank you to the sponsors, Jason, Levon, and Joe. Thank you guys for your support, unwavering support. Judo TV, discount code Shintaro. If you want to watch IJF tournaments, Judo TV is the only place to do it. And Higashi brand, which is also my brand, is the sponsor for this video. And by sponsor, I mean I'm giving Peter a little bit of my... It's going to go into the account, and then we're going to split it anyway. So I'm just kind of giving, because Peter owns half of the show, right? Peter's my producer. We all miss Peter right now. He's kind of hanging out. He's going to a wedding this weekend, I think. Anyway, thank you very much to the sponsors. And what else have I been up to? I've been relentlessly pursuing this Higashi brand stuff, which is kind of a new thing for me. And I do have a little bit of experience in retail and like clothing and e-commerce because I worked at Fuji for, close to 3 years. So I do have a little bit of an experience there. I've always had this idea about gi pants with pockets. And it's like this thorn in my side forever. I've always thought about it. It would be so cool if I had gi pants with pockets. I could go to Whole Foods and pick out avocados and my favorite Jiu-Jitsu or Judo gear. It would be the coolest thing on this planet. But it's the worst because there's no pockets on gi pants. They're so comfortable. And there's also an issue with just slapping pockets onto the gi pant because people don't want to look like they're working out at the dojo when they're in Whole Foods. People kind of have a weird thing about, what are you doing, karate or something? Or are you a taco nogi guy? Or, you know what I mean? As a grown person, people are a little bit like, I have my hobbies. I'm a little bit shy about it, insecure about it. I'm only a white belt or blue belt or green belt, whatever, right? So I wanted to make this gi pants with pockets, if you know kind of a thing, right? It's recognizable that if you're in the game, if you're in the industry, that guy's wearing gi pants with pockets. What the hell's going on with it? And it's got zippers. His phone probably never falls out of his pocket. Wow, those are cool. And then if you're not in the know, you're just wearing cool drawstring pants. That's what I was really going for. And it was this idea that I worked on and I drew it. Then I found guys to make them. And then I had so many different samples, so many different samples. You know, my first version one, I literally took a pair of gi pants and I asked my mom, hey, put pockets on these for me. And they were atrocious. And then I begged my mom, because she has pretty good like seamstressing skills. She used to always fix my jeans and stuff like that, you know? Because I was a fat kid, I would have like a 36 waist or something crazy. And then the jeans would be too long because it's designed for big people, big waist, long legs. I have a big fat waist as a kid, really short legs, you know, not that tall. So it'd be way too long. So my mom would like hem the jeans and like, you know, sew it and stuff with the machine. So she has some of this skill. So I would ask my mom nonstop, make me another pair, you know, asking her to kind of, oh, do it like this, do it like that. The pockets too deep, whatever. And then I pushed her until we got to like version 7. She was like, enough. Yep. Not doing it anymore, you know? And then so, you know, I bought the fabric and I took it to a cut and sew contractor out in Williamsburg. And I was like, yo, I want to make these pants, right? And the guy goes, what is a gi pant? And I was like, what is a gi pant? It's like judo gi material pant. Like, he's like, what makes a gi pant a gi pant? And I was like, what makes gi pant a gi pant? You know, and I couldn't even answer that question. I was like, oh my God, I don't know my product at all. So we took like the elements of what makes a gi pant in our mind. And at the time, I didn't do jiu-jitsu really. I did jiu-jitsu like once a week. So it was more so twill fabric, right? Twill fabric was what I considered the fabric. Cotton twill pattern was the sort of gi pant thing. And then below the knee, there's like a doubling up where there's stitching reinforced. So that's much thicker to be able to grab because back in the day, you were able to grab a pen in judo. So it's the pattern of the twill with the reinforced stitching below the knee or above the knee, right? And the flat drawstring versus the bungee drawstring, like those are the things that kind of made a gi pant a gi pant. And now all of a sudden, this guy, you know, is kind of creating designs for me, ideas for me. And now all of a sudden, you know, we have a prototype that looks like a freaking gi pant. And at the time, I had no clue how to go about making it in, you know, like in a mass production way. And it's the cut and sew guy, like, yo, can you make these for me? And he's like, yeah, it costs about $40 a pair to make. And I was like, whoa, how is that even possible? He's like, first of all, we're making it in the States. You're in New York. You're not in China or Pakistan or any of those guys. Like, we have to pay these people a livable wage. I was like, okay. He's like, and then we got to get the fabric sourced and then bring it in. You're not getting a crazy amount of volume. You're getting a very small run of this stuff. Like, it's going to cost money. You're paying retail prices for it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I got it. So I guess I have to kind of outsource it overseas and, you know, find that. You know what I mean? So I set out to find sort of a place and they were like, okay, do you have a tech pack? And I'm like, what the hell is a tech? So I make a tech pack, which is all the dimensions of the product, right? This and that. And then there's a thing called grading and marking where you have each of the different sizes and the variant, right? Marked out. The waist is this, the length is that, blah, 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 blah. All in like this like design packet. And I paid for that. You know, the pattern, and then this and that. And then I brought the Fuji. I was like, Leah, look at this thing that I made, right? It's very cool. And she's like, oh, the prototype's amazing. And I was like, this is essentially the tech pack. Can we make a run together? And we ordered, I think it was 500 black and 500 white. And 500 pairs, black, sold immediately. White, sat in my parents' attic. Still sitting in my parents' attic. I lowered that price to $20 a pair, and I still can't get rid of them. Horrible. But I will tell you right now, they're not that great of a product. It's white. It looks exactly like a gi pant. I gave one to one of my judo guys, and he wore it in training because he thought it was a regular gi pant. He's like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's a gi pant. But there's little pockets on them. he did not know that this was like a lifestyle wear thing. And then I was like, okay, that's a problem. And the pockets are kind of shallow too. So I didn't like love it, you know? So then version 2, version 3, version 4, another set of versions were kind of being worked on. And, I have a bunch of samples that I've ordered, where I independently looked for manufacturers overseas. Very difficult, very difficult. But now I could proudly say that we have a very, very good, perfect almost pair. It's on the website now. You go to higashibrand.com, you can check it out. I didn't mean for this to be like a whole sales pitch about my gi pant, but that's what I've been working on. And I asked the guy, my manufacturer who made it, I was like, yo, can you make me shorts? And he goes, I have gray and navy lying around. You want some? I was like, yes. And now those are flying off the shelves. So I've been doubling down on that now. And I realize t-shirts don't really sell that well. The margins are very good. But these pants are made. People want pants, right? What do you wear on bottoms? Jeans, sweatpants? That's really it. Like you're not wearing leggings outside if you're a man. And if you're listening to this, the demographic is like 97.6% males. My YouTube demographic is so skewed to that side. You couldn't even design a channel. You know what I mean? I bet you Andy Tate has more women listeners than I do. It's kind of nuts. Anyway, these pants are free. They have zippered pockets, back patch pocket. I've been working on that and the Higashi brand stuff. And, it's been so much fun. My new favorite thing in the world is my new work flow. Okay. There's a limited number of things you can do if you're in one time zone. And, I'm not like early rising to get my workout out of the way. My workout's 10 a.m. I go to the Jiu-Jitsu. And then if I have time, I'll go lift weights. And then I go to the dojo at night and then do judo at night, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if I feel up for doing judo. But that's kind of like the optional play, right? If I don't train in the morning, I'll do judo at night. If I do jiu-jitsu in the morning, lift weights, I won't do judo at night and I'll just focus on teaching. And it's like sort of this flex system. So I don't get up super early to do anything but like hang out with my daughter. But I do take my daughter to school or camp and then I come back and then I go to work, right? And go start working. But we're in this New York time zone. So I'm limited with what I can do here in New York in the time zone that I'm in. But I go to the dojo, I come home, I eat dinner, it's 10 p.m., peak time for China, peak. So I take all my meetings with China at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 a.m. Boom, boom, boom. It's ideal, really. And when I get up in the morning, Pakistan is in the proper timing. So now I have my meeting with Pakistan earlier in the morning, usually like right before Yumi gets up, right? And then also in the sort of the other time zone that I work in is like Malta, where my graphic designer is. So now all of a sudden I kind of have this steady workflow where I'm doing my thing during the day and I have Pakistan, China, and Malta people to kind of deal with. And it's this nice workflow where I can work 24/7 essentially for little to no money. Yes, you heard it, folks. I am not making that much money. But, I love it so far because you have this vision, right? I want to create these gi pants and pockets for everybody. And it's tangible. Like I can physically hold it off, right? I can just go down here and look at that. These are these shorts of pockets from Pakistan. I designed it. I created this thing. Look at this thing, right? These shorts of pockets, I'm literally wearing it. Literally wearing it with my zippered pockets and everything. You see this? I love it. So it's this idea of something that you're working on in your mind coming to fruition in a tangible manner, kind of like you're drilling the judo stuff conceptually. You're talking about it. You have your teachers. You ask questions. You drill it. You're thinking about it. You try it. You fail. You get countered. And all of a sudden, when they boom, you hit it. You rip someone with a tatoshi, and you're like, "Holy moly, was that an accident?" Maybe. But then you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And all of a sudden now you have a respectable judo system that you can show to the world. Say, hey, look at my judo, right? And now all of a sudden you're making Instagram reels and getting followers and stuff and getting no chicks at all. So, yeah, it's kind of like that. And Gi pants with pockets. Fantastic. Please check it out, higashibrand.com. And yeah, that's kind of the wrap up, man. That's what I've been working on. I'm also working on this backpack. Really, really cool. I'll give you a sneak peek. It's incredible. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Look how wide the opening is. Boom! Right? I put gis in there. I put everything I needed in there already. Gi, towel, rash guard, belt, all this, right? And the beautiful thing about this is after training, okay, I specifically asked for this. This side, it is waterproof. So you can put your dirty rash guard, dirty gis, so it doesn't soil your own stuff, right? Isn't that amazing? And then on this side, look, it opened all the way to be able to put your slides in for the dojo. Look at this thing. Bang. I know I'm being like an infomercial person right now, right? But I'm very excited about this stuff. And then this top section here, look, bang. I'm going to put tape in there. Tape in there. Personal belongings. Man, and this is kind of like the thing that I've also been working on, these kinds of things. You know, I feel like I'm never going to make money because I spent so much money on samples. And 50% of these samples that I get are trash. Friend, this thing came, it's so cheap. These aren't the ones that I'm going to sell. I'm telling you, these aren't the ones. But I'm like looking at this thing, and it's like, how can this even be the same EVA form from the other things that I've purchased? Like, this is just not, you know what I mean? And this logo can easily be scratched off. It's like, you know what I mean? And they said that they were going to customize this plastic portion. They didn't, you know? So I have like tons of these just lying around now, you know? But let me tell you something. It's fun, and it's a learning process. And it's almost as if like I'm getting another MBA, you know? And as you guys know, I'm not trying to like humble brag or anything like that, but I went to get an MBA at Stern, and it was extremely expensive. And a lot of these guys who were in the program with me are very high finance, high executive type. It was an executive program. And so they're like, oh yeah, the company's paying for it. And then I'm going to get a raise of like $50,000 extra. You just having this title, you know, or having this degree. And then there's a tangible ROI, you know, on their time, and they don't have to pay for it. So it's all like gravy for them. You know what I mean? Me, on the other hand, I have to pay that out of pocket. And then, in fact, I'm losing money because I'm not spending time on my business while I'm there, you know? So you're actually just paying to learn and then paying to meet the right people, et cetera, et cetera. But I really had no need to kind of interact with the finance types. I mean, it's like, why would I? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really work in that field at all. But anyway, this is how it feels like. You know, I'm paying for all these different samples. A lot of the stuff that I purchased already with the intent to sell are just sitting, and they're not selling at all. So, you know, those are kind of mistakes, I feel like. And eventually I could turn it into sun cash and salvage it and cut the losses, right? But it's a very, very fun and interesting exercise for me. It's like a mind exercise, and I feel like I'm building something. And it's very reflective of how I kind of live my life, you know, pursuing my interests, pursuing my mind, really. And then like love things that are engaging, doing with tons of passion. Every single thing that I wear now out is one of my stuff that I had made overseas, you know? So it's pretty cool. Like, that's what Higashi brand really is. You know, it's kind of the way I live my life, and it's a lifestyle thing. And I think if you live your life like me, you probably do martial arts. You know, you do martial arts. You guys do grappling. You want to make yourself better. You guys want to learn. You know, if you don't want to learn, why are you in the dojo, right? So it really is representative of that kind of self-betterment kind of a thing. And I'm loving it. You know, we'll keep a lookout for these bags. They're really, really cool. The design's already done. I know exactly how it's going to be customized, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just putting it through the test, right? I'm just putting it through the ringer. I want to use it for 3 weeks, and I'm trying to like throw it around and pull it apart just to make sure that I'm trying to quality test this thing. So I don't want to put anything out there that sucks. You know what I mean? I put out there things that were like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the t-shirts that were print on demand that I can't quite quality control every piece of that, you know? So little by little, for certain, I'm growing this thing and it's been an absolute pleasure. If you guys have any ideas for me, I'm always open. I take pride in having an open mind with this stuff. And if you're in the biz, I'd love to talk to you because, there's not too many guys. I know a few guys that are in the business, like, clothing. Zios guy, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I see him all the time. He's one of my friends. Um, but yeah, if you're in the biz, you reach out to me, let me know. Maybe we could work on something, work together, collaborate. I don't know, but like it'll be fun. And I'm pretty pleasant to talk to, I think. So yeah, that's my update. And thank you very much for listening to me just ramble about everything and anything, just stuff in my life. You can find me at Judo Shintaro NYC on Instagram. Thank you for listening.